Sustainability is a conversation that's often parked unnecessarily because it's inconvenient to talk about it, because it might affect your lifestyle choices. We just need to have the conversations. As brands, we are the responsible people. We need to be able to bring a product to shelf that has those aspects already ticked and to give the customer a choice which is competitive, because at the end of the day, we know our customer also wants an amazing skincare experience that's going to be beautiful for her skin as well, or his skin. So it's a 360 philosophy. You know, you have to be able to deliver on all sorts of fronts.
Welcome to Care More, Be Better, a podcast for people like you who care about the social impact of conscious companies and everyday heroes. Hear inspiring stories from those who put people and planet before profit and personal gain. You'll learn how you can make a difference, vote with your dollars, and get involved today. Here's your host, Corinna Bellizzi.
Welcome to Care More, Be Better, a podcast that shines a light on people and projects that are working to regenerate our planet and create a better future for all. I'm your host, Corinna Bellizzi. Today, we're digging into a subject that touches every one of us, what we put on our skin. From moisturizers to sunscreen to makeup, we absorb countless impurities and other things through our skin every single day, many of which we don't fully understand, and many of which are anything but safe. Our guest today, Megan Douglas, has devoted her life to changing that. Megan is a fifth-generation herbalist and naturopath, a former fashion designer, a mother, and the founder of The Organic Skin Co. You may have seen their products in your local health food store. They look just like this. It's a company that's rooted in ancient herbal wisdom, sustainability, and radical ingredient transparency. Her work blends science, beauty, and environmental stewardship, reminding us that skincare should support our well-being, not compromise it, and that the personal care industry can and must be far more sustainable. Megan, welcome to Care More, Be Better.
Hi, Corinna. Hi, everyone.
It's so nice to finally have this time together. I first came across your company at Expo West two Marches ago. So, you'll be coming up on the next one this March, and I hope to see you there as well. I've been using these products now for the last year. Well, I mulled on all the many episodes I had to record, and you were in queue. I'm so glad that we're finally able to come together because, frankly, I love your products. I love what you're doing.
Great. Thank you. Yep. We always say the products speak for themselves. So it's good that you've had the experience of them for a little while to see what they do and how they feel on your skin. So I'm glad you're enjoying them.
Now, before founding The Organic Skin Co., you worked as a fashion designer and later as a naturopath. When did skincare and toxin-free beauty become a personal mission for you? What made you build this company?
Well, yes. So really the genesis was when I was working in my clinic. As you mentioned, I had been in fashion industry for 10 years and I did that in my 20s in London. I'm actually from New Zealand, if you recognize the accent out there. That's the weird accent I have. But I went to London, I did fashion. I sort of lost my fashion, my passion for it. And I spent about 3 years traveling through India and the East. I came back, I had my first child, and I took the opportunity to restudy in the old family heritage, which was herbalism and naturopathy. So I'm, as you mentioned, the fifth generation herbalist in the family. And I'd grown up around my grandmother's health food store, which I used to work in. And we had a family business called Red Seal Laboratories, where we made internal supplements and herbal teas and some, also did oatmeal soaps and skin products. So sometimes when you grow up with something, it infuses into your being, so to speak. So eventually after I restudied, which was a real honor at, the age of my 30s to be able to go back and study for a few years, I set up clinic and as a naturopath and herbalist. And I was quite shocked about the amount of clients that I'd have coming in who had very chronic health conditions that the doctors, the traditional medical environment had just kind of washed their hands of. They just didn't have answers. And so a lot of it was nutritional and a lot of it was environmental. And, I tended to get a lot of sort of end of the cliff sort of situations for people, infertility, cancer, chronic fatigue. And also I was attracting a lot of skin issues, dermatitis like psoriasis and eczema and bad acne. So, we'd start to clean out their diet and put them on nutritional programs. And then we'd start to look at nutrition, supplements and herbs. But quite often people just weren't quite getting as well as we'd want to see. And it became quite, obvious to me that there was the toxicity the toxicity was still there in their system. So I started to look more at the environmental toxins that were around them. And some of them were environmental sprays and things that were being used in the household. But a lot of the women that I had coming in with infertility were using a lot of chemical skincare products. And I was starting to look at that. So that was one of the things that instigated it. And we started to clean that out. And then the other thing with the psoriasis and eczema I was seeing, and my daughter also had quite bad eczema. She started with nappy rash when she was baby and, it continued on. And I was always looking for the perfect eczema cream for her and hadn't quite found that holy grail. So we combined these two things and I thought, well, I'm going to start with doing an anti-inflammatory healing product. And this will be for my daughter, but it will also be for some of the clients that are coming through the clinic with psoriasis and eczema and acne. And I'd known from my many years in India about some of the beautiful Ayurvedic herbs as well, like turmeric. And so that was the beginning of the journey. And I guess the old-fashioned designer in me who loved making products and loved packaging and all that sort of stuff also creatively was really satisfied with this new journey. So the first products were launched after 2 or 3 years. It actually took a lot of research because I wanted to do something very different therapeutically and use different types of extraction methods. And the range, the Organic Skincare, was launched. And basically that it grew. This is 16 years ago now, so we're quite old in the tooth, so to speak. It grew to the stage where my clinic closed down and I've been focusing on this full time for 14 years.
Wow. Well, there are a few things that stand out to me right away when I look at the product. And that's what first drew me to stop at your booth because frankly, I don't usually stop at personal care booths. I'm in the supplements world, nutritional products, and that's primarily where my focus is. But, I'm opening your box right now. This is my favorite product that you produce. It's called the Dream Cream. And I just want people to understand, especially if they're watching on YouTube, what that experience is like. You open it up and it first says, you just removed 5 plastic bottles. Now, if you've listened to this show for a while, I've talked about plastic and packaging a lot because it's superfluous waste that we end up with all over the place. And in fact, I just finished recording an episode with a plastics researcher that's focused on getting plastics out of the environment, microplastics, the impact of them on our health, on our endocrine systems, and everything else. And because I'm in the health field with nutrition really as the core focus, this is something I just do a lot of reading about as it is. I'm also an environmentalist. I always have been. I used to focus on recycling plastics first. Now I focus on removing as much of it as possible for my life. So when you see the packaging, you first see that message as you open the bottle, or the box rather. And then the bottle itself has a bamboo top that's lined with not plastic. There's just a layer, I think, of a foam in here to offer that. A tiny bit of plastic, which is in this top piece that seals it in. And then the richest, most creamy, thick dream cream that you could ever dream of. And one of these bottles lasts me at least 6 months. So, I know I'm using a fair amount of it too. And it goes all over my face, my neck, my chest. The bottle itself is glass. So you've put a tremendous amount of care into how it's packaged and into creating something that isn't priced through the moon. I think that this product retails for about $25 US, something along those lines. And so it's accessible, it's regenerative, and there's almost no plastic in it. For a personal care product, that's amazing. And so it gets my endorsement for all of those reasons. And it also gets my endorsement, and I'm not being paid for this, so I want that to be clear, because of the fact that the ingredients in it are really, really clean. So I hope that people listening can just take a moment to respect how much work it took to create that. And that is an example of everything else in your line. I mean, you've done an amazing job. And the premium feel of this, I mean, I would feel comfortable wrapping this and making it a gift for somebody at the holidays. It absolutely has that level of prestige about it. And you're offered in natural health food stores, so people can encounter you there. Okay.
Yeah, it's a journey.
It took a lot to get here. I'm sure of that. So you also say right on the top, the next gen CO2 supercritical extracts. So talk a moment about the fact that you're using CO2 supercritical extracts in your formulas.
Yeah. So, well, as a herbalist, I get very excited about the CO2s. I hadn't actually ever been trained in them. They're very revolutionary science. And Corinna, since you know the supplement industry, you may have come across them in some brands like Gaia Herbs or New Chapter. And, but they're not commonly used because they're very luxurious and they're extremely expensive and rare. But they, to me, when I stumbled across them, it was a funny story, actually. I was researching way back before the brand was launched, packaging, and I'd gone to a Hong Kong trade fair. And there was this lovely Indian man there with this tray of herbs, little vials. And I went, oh, what's this, And he took me through and introduced me to these CO2 supercritical extracts. And I was so gobsmacked. And I said, well, I'm coming to India to see what you do. So I basically got on the next plane to India and got to know his family, the network he has of herbal farmers throughout India where they do the conversion over to organic farming. And then they actually extract in CO2 as well. So now we use about 18 different CO2 supercritical extracts through the whole range. Now, what's amazing about them is normally when you try to put a herb, so say, for example, you've got a calendula and you want to put it into the skincare because it's anti-inflammatory, it's calming, it's healing. So you're not going to just put the ground up herb in there because it's going to be not absorb into the skin. It needs to be extracted somehow. So what we've always done in the past in the cosmetic industry is we've used a solvent. So the solvent is mixed with that herb and then it puts it into a kind of liquid state which can be put into the skincare cream. And generally that's alcohol, sometimes it's glycol. Now that glycol is about 80% proof. It's very strong and that stays in the product. So what you're doing is you're actually putting quite a lot of alcohol in your skin when you're normally putting botanical herbs into your skincare, which you don't necessarily want because your skin is all about its pH, bacteria barrier. And the alcohol can strip that. It's great as an antiseptic, but we're not always wanting antiseptic in our skincare. So, but what the CO2 does is it's a gas and it goes through, it's a cyclic process, so it always recycled. It comes through that organic herb, flushes through it at a supercritical pressure and changes that molecular structure of that herb to a gummy liquid. And then it goes away again and you get left with the herb and nothing but the herb. So there's no solvent there. And not only that, you're getting all the oil parts of the herb as well, which you don't get in the solvents. So you're getting this beautiful herb. And in aromatherapy, like organic, clinical grade essential oils would be your highest. The next grade up would be a CO2 herb flower, because it's literally like putting your head into that bush and smelling every single phytochemical. So I'm sorry if that sounds a bit technical, but basically you've got a super potent, super pure, super amazing plant.
For me, I I understand CO2 extraction better than most, but
Yes.
I think I can also juxtapose this for our audience a bit. Usually, alcohol is the primary medium used to extract lipid soluble compounds, which means the fats and the oils, right? And that enables you to get out the oils. There are some companies that use cyclic water, almost like you would steep a tea, and then the constituents within the tea start to take out some of the lipid soluble compounds. And then you can take that aqueous extract and spray dry it, and you'll get some of the terpenoids and the other phytochemicals that are, more oil based in that. But it does change the scent profile automatically. This process of having to be heated for that long. And what's unique about that CO2 process is that it doesn't have to rely on that level of heat and steeping kind of perspective. It is more expensive to run, but it preserves, from what I understand, the chemical constituents, and in particular, the fat soluble compounds. It may do less well the water soluble compounds, but the fat soluble compounds are truly preserved. And so at the end, you end up with something that can go very well into some things like creams, which is the application you're mostly looking for. But I think they could also potentially be put into things like toners. I'm not sure about that. So, I'd love to know your perspective on that front, because even just ensuring that you're able to create a product that works, in a cream aspect, and then also you have clarifying oils and tinted oils that you offer as well as the toner, which I also use every day.
Yeah. So the CO2 is pretty incredible for the parts that you mentioned, the fact that it's more full spectrum. But from a skin, and that's where the genesis of the brand started, actually, was we still sell it. It's one of our biggest sellers. It's called Task Force 9 Calming Calendula Cream, using turmeric and calendula, and both highly calming, anti-inflammatory, repairing herbs. But when you put them in the CO2 format in the skincare, they're super potent. They're up to at least 10 times stronger than normal, but they have a much wider profile of all the phytochemicals. So there's that. But with skincare, as I mentioned before, you want to retain your skin barrier. That is number one in skin. And I think a lot of us miss this because we're told to over exfoliate. We're told to use lasers. We're told to use really harsh chemicals on the skin. And what happens is we actually destroy this precious barrier on our skin. Now, coming back to the old extraction methods, high-grade alcohol is not horrible, but it can denature the skin over time. So if you really want that potent therapeutic dose of herbs, you might have a bit too much high-grade alcohol in your skincare. So we're kind of addressing lots of different things there. And then, as you said, there's a whole host. Now, we are always certified. From the very beginning, we've certified our products so that it gives the customers that assurity of the cleanliness. So at least 70% organic. Normally it's 80% plus, and that's certified by either the New Zealand agency BioGrow as made with organic, or NSF, which is the US agency. Now, what that guarantees is not only your organic ingredients are guaranteed to be in there because they're audited and checked each year, but any non-organic ingredients, which you actually do need in skincare when you're making creams or toners or anything where oil and water comes together that needs preservation, it needs emulsifiers, it needs surfactants, it needs pH balances, they don't come in organic ingredients unless you're making them at home and you have to keep them for 2 or 3 days. So they also get certified. So every single ingredient that goes into our products, including the non-organic natural ones, go through an audit process where they say, okay, how is this manufactured? What's in that chain when you manufacture them? Is there any hidden nasties to create this from the coconut into the surfactant, for example? So everything is as pure as it can be in our products. And our guru really is Mother Earth, to be honest. That's the genesis of the brand. A great respect for her for the incredible botanicals and healing abilities and, incredible plants that she offers. And so we like to respect them and blend them in ways that are beautiful for the senses and experience of application. And we also like to, as you mentioned before, respect what we do with those planetary resources, whether it be giving back through the plastic initiatives, the Plant One Tree initiatives, the packaging choices, the vegan, cruelty-free choices.
Now, what compelled you to make sustainability a non-negotiable part of your brand?
I think it's always just been an essence that was with us from the very beginning. I think my personal experiences of having lived a very sort of fashion-orientated lifestyle in London, New York, traveling the world, going through that quite material time of my life in the 20s. But I'd always been fascinated with yoga and what else is out there? Who are we? How are we connected to everything and everybody else? And that led me to that journey in India for 3 years, where I spent a lot of time traveling and, doing my meditation, doing my eat, pray, love, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so when it came to, and what that taught me is that we are all connected and that the earth is the sacred part of us. And so there was no choice but to make decisions when making a product range that were based on regenerative, sustainable practices. There was just it's no point, is there? It's a celebration for us and something that we can do in harmony.
That's great. Now, can you talk about your packaging choices? Are you doing refill options? I'd love to hear more about that.
So I think you mentioned that, first of all, with the plastic, it's also been our thing because, the beauty industry is one of the worst, I'd say, contributors to plastic waste. And so, it takes hundreds of thousands of years to break down. Recent studies have shown that 80% of blood is got microplastics in it these days. We know it's affecting the waterways. We know that only it's in mother's milk. It's in the placenta. We know it's destroying hormonal integrity. It's just crazy. And the beauty industry is all about prettiness. And, so you get a lot of, and one of the trends that I find really tricky at the moment is that the younger generation, like these bright poppy colored, thick plastic, and there's a lot of the plastic is not actually recyclable. It's not PET. It's even if it is recycled, we know only probably about 10 to 20% is recycled of recyclable plastics, but the rest is not recyclable. So what's happening is that the cosmetic industry is creating 120 billion units of plastic a year. Okay.
Now, I want to stop there for a second. You said 10 to 20% of plastic that is recyclable. Well, just so people understand where we're at, because I just had a deep dive with a scientist that works in this perspective, it's really 5 to 6% of all plastic produced is ever recycled. So with the billions of pounds of plastic that we're creating every single year, this is just getting more and more into our environment. So even if it is recyclable, and most beauty industry plastics are not, because again, that thick, beautiful, clear, looks like glass, but isn't glass, and it's this bright color, so it's not breakable, that does not end up recycled. And it might be used for a month,
Yeah, that's right. And then it's boom, boom. So we've gone mainly for glass, as you've mentioned, and also PCR aluminum. Which has already gone, PCR is post-consumer recycled. So this has already gone through the recycling process. And bamboo, and we've minimized the amount of plastic we can to as tiny amounts as possible. So bamboo I like because it's biodegradable, and it does give that luxury atmosphere to the product. And then any plastic we use, which sometimes you just have to for cleanliness and things like that, we normally have as a separable part. So there's only, I'd say, about 2% of our range packaging is plastic at this stage. So this, for example, is a white plastic lid that goes on here. We're looking at some stage doing aluminum for that if we can. And that actually comes out from the bamboo element. And some people say, oh, but it's not glued together. And I'm going like, well, it's not supposed to be glued together because we're going to separate that out when we, dispose
You
of
have
it.
to separate it out. Yeah, because you can
Yeah,
actually put the wood in your compost. It doesn't
you
have to go,
can.
and
Exactly. You
what it
can. You can
operates
put
as a
it in your
stand
composter.
too, so that your bottle can stand up on your counter. That's how I have that. So
Yeah. So that works really
you can
well. And
set it
these glass
vertically.
jars, we also encourage people to upcycle. Like I put spices, these labels come off. You can put spices and things or jewelry and your glass jar. So there's lots of things. It's just about being mindful, and it's a whole journey. It takes a long time, and we're trying our best always to improve our sustainability. I don't think we're perfect yet, but every year we do a new initiative. And I think with we've got the 5 bottles that we take for each product that the customer buys. We work with 7 Clean Seas who are in Indonesia to remove 5 plastic bottles from the waterways. And for every online sale at the moment, we're doing a Plant One Tree with Eden Reforestation. So it's a holistic thing. And then the other part that I think is really interesting when it comes to organic is, okay, so there's 2 angles with having an organic skin product or even an internal supplement. It's not just that you're not having those pesticides and nasties coming into your bloodstream. And we do need to remember that the skin is absorbent. But it's also the state of regeneration of our soils at the moment. And we have issues with our soils being infertile by the heavy commercial farming. And soil is our life force. So once we go back to that beautiful microbe-rich organic farming or biodynamic farming, we're actually sustaining the earth quality, the soil quality. So there's 2 parts of organic that I think people need to be aware of.
Yeah. Now, as far as thinking about that regenerative future that we're helping to build, how do you think the beauty industry in particular needs to evolve in order to be part of that movement?
Oh, it's a tricky one because, the consumer studies say that everybody wants to do the right thing, but it's quite easy. It's like the fashion industry to go out and buy that latest thing that's only $20. Even knowing how or what it could be doing impact wise. So it's a holistic change that we all need to be led with. And I think it's the communication, it's podcasts like yours, it's continuing to talk about it. I know clean beauty had its moment and now people are a bit more like a little bit distracted. Sustainability is a conversation that's often parked unnecessarily because it's inconvenient to talk about it because it might affect your lifestyle choices. I think, we just need to have the conversations as brands. We are the responsible people. We need to be able to bring a product to shelf that has those aspects already ticked and to give the customer a choice which is competitive, because at the end of the day, we know our customer also wants an amazing skincare experience that's going to be beautiful for her skin as well, or his skin. So it's a 360 philosophy. You have to be able to deliver on all sorts of fronts. And the other thing that we always, I like to have the conversation also about beauty when we talk about this, because I feel that the beauty industry it's kind of aligns itself to quick fixes, to aesthetic procedures that aren't actually tied into well-being and health. And that we also have to have that conversation about what is beauty at the same time, because we've gone a little bit to this anti-aging movement where, injectables, harsh treatments, fillers, and, aging is bad and blah, 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 which is, we're just not all about, I really feel that there's some serious conversations to have there in the beauty industry as well, because skin health is well-being, holistic health that comes from the inside. It comes from cellular health. It comes from barrier repair. It comes from having pleasant thoughts and having your wrinkles settle in a nice way in your face. It's, so I might have gone off.
Yeah, I'm
piece a
never
bit
worried
there,
too much about wrinkles. Like I have, little here and there, right? And they're going to come with age. I'm 49 now, so it will continue to happen. And I just look at it as something that people need to understand, that holistic wellness is holistic. It treats the whole thing. And when you're talking about skincare, be it topical or the sorts of things you need to do to support your skin internally, getting the right nutrition, sleep, water, those things really matter.
Yes.
Getting the right topical products is really important. I think too often we go to the stripping. We say, oh, I've got acne. I'm going to dry out my skin with this astringent that is going to help me heal the acne. Well, the reason you might have an acne, I have a little pimple down here on my chin line. I don't know if you can see it right there, right now.
So hormonal
just a little
acne
one.
place.
Yeah. Well, I started my period. That's life. And
pastry berry.
You're going to have these moments, right? That crop up. But if you have the right skin nutrition and the right topical soothing products, it will heal quicker. It will not as likely scar because you've got the right treatment. You're not just stripping it down and causing more irritation on the site. And I think that's where we tend to go. We go to irritation as opposed to healing. And so I have a lot of appreciation for your Task Force 9. The thought that this product is marketed as something that's available when you need it. And I've used it that way. I've also just used it on spots on my face that felt like they need a little bit more love, like they need a little more moisture. It does have a slightly yellow tone to it, which I'm sure comes from the turmeric because turmeric is very yellow, but it doesn't seem to discolor the skin. So I'm not afraid to use it, on the daily. And I think that overall, the thing that comes through on all of these is that there's care in the products. None of them smells weird or unnatural. I have a very high-tuned sense of smell and will sometimes just sneeze when I open another product that has some synthetic fragrances in it. And many of them do. So if you have a sensitive system, turning to a product that is more naturally built is going to be more supportive of your skin health. Now, I thought I just suffered from adult acne, right? I had a lot of acne, for some of them cystic, for some time. And it turned out that I had an mild allergy to milk. And so because I consumed milk, I was getting, particularly in the chin area, but also along my more oily spots around my nose here. I do have some scarring here, but it's very light now, from really just consuming milk all the years of my life because I love milk. And now I don't use it at all. I will have some cheese or some yogurt or some, let's say, a little bit of ice cream now and then, but I'm not as sensitive to the more processed milks as I was to just liquid milk. And so some of these things you figure out as you're going through your life because you learn you have a digestive sensitivity to something that you're not exactly allergic to. It's not like you're having a real issue, but your system is basically saying no. And so I think we need to get better at listening to our bodies and really think about what we're putting in our bodies and on our skin more. I'm going to pause because I think my son's coming home. So just as we talk about, really balancing not only what you're putting in your body, but also what you're putting on it, I know that people will like to hear from you how they could seek and find products that are not only made with responsible ingredients, but that are sustainable and not just greenwashed, because so many companies are now using the language of sustainability, whether or not they're truly providing a sustainable product.
That's a really good question. There's certain, first of all, we'll start with packaging. Be very careful with your plastics. We've already covered that. Most of them can't be recycled in the beauty industry, and so I would avoid those type of packagings, as much as I could. Look for things like sustainable forestry cards, look for glass, look for aluminium, and also refills are good as long as you're going to actually use them. And it's a tricky system for a brand to do successfully when you're doing smaller sizes. For example, this would be, to do a refill on this, you're going to do another pouch, and the pouch is not necessarily recyclable because you need to protect the product inside with different layers. So it's, complex layered, so it's not going to be necessarily a recyclable pouch. So educate yourself. The other thing I would say is look for certifications because they have had an external audit. We've always been an advocate of certifications, not because we want to slip in, we just feel it gives that customer that other layer of security. You don't necessarily need to be a label reader, but it does help. And one thing, I think, going back to what you were saying before about fragrances, that's my biggest concern actually with the beauty industry. When you see fragrance, perfume, you have to be extremely careful because generally you do not have to declare the chemicals that are in that perfume fragrance combination. So often a lot of the formaldehydes and very nasty toxic chemicals are hidden in that fragrance and perfume area. So start educating yourself to avoid that. There are some natural brands that will use perfumes and they're nature identical. They're not as bad, but essentially I would like to say either unfragranced or essential oils, which is what we use at the Organic Skin Co. The body can recognize them. The body knows what to do with them. So you want to be careful with what you're doing there. And I would say with educating yourself, now you said you'll become quite sensitive. That's a good thing. It's really good to become sensitive to what you're putting onto your skin. So for example, I used to train some of our sales force, like for example, if you did a coffee scrub and you got your coffee granules and you scrubbed your face or a turmeric mask, you will subtly be able to tell the taste of coffee in your mouth or turmeric, because quite quickly all those the ingredients will seep through and your mouth becomes highly sensitive, if not other senses. So I've got to the stage now where I can smell a million miles away if something's fake, because it will come into my mouth and it's almost like I need to spit it out. So this is what we need to train our children to do.
I sneeze. I always sneeze.
You sneeze. Yeah. Your body knows best. It's rejecting it. So become fine-tuned. It's a little bit like, I could go to McDonald's, enjoy this burger, but I'm going to feel awful afterwards. It's the same with what we put on our body. Yeah. So it's education. It's refining those sensitivities. It's becoming aligned to what your natural body is seeking.
Now, I know that many people worry that natural products don't work as well. How do you balance integrity with high efficacy in your formulas? I know we've already talked about how these are nurturing to the skin, which is different, right? And I guess I should say, I frankly don't believe that the products that are unnatural are more effective. They're just more allopathic, right? They might create the sense that they're working today, if that makes sense. So can you offer comment on this and perhaps give more clarity?
Well, I think the aesthetic industry is filled with smoke screens and mirrors and promises that can be quite fake. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve. But for me, any type of health, including skin health, is long term. So let's think about the skin. It's our biggest detoxification organ. It's our largest organ in the body, and it's highly intelligent. It is seeking homeostasis. It wants to be in harmony. It wants to be a great barrier and protector to you. So if we look at it like that, we can start with that principle. So we want to downplay any irritations. We want it to be strong and resilient. We want to build that cellular regeneration and its integrity. So a lot of the fast hit, highly dosed chemicals are doing the opposite. They're actually taking away your skin integrity. They're creating sensitivities. They're often disturbing your skin barrier, which is your protection layer. So they may look great on the surface and create all these things, but actually what we're seeing is increase in sensitivity in skin has gone up so high because people are actually over. So if you take a range like the Organic Skin Co., we're built on anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, downplaying stress of the skin, protection, regeneration. And on those principles, it's like a diet. So I'd like to say, for example, as a naturopath, if somebody had a leaky gut and they had issues with their digestive, we might look at repairing herbs, aloe veras, calendulas, dietary changes, taking out milk, for example. It's the same with the skin. So I think we need to go back to basics and take a lot of those harsh overstripping treatments out, and we build back up carefully. Now, I'm 60 and I've never done fillers and Botox. Now, I've got lots of wrinkles now and things that are sagging and things like that, but I'm happy in my skin. My skin is doing what it's supposed to do. It's got hydration, it's got bounce, it's got resilience, it's in harmony. And to me, that's integrity for me, for my life, and how I I know I can, I know what I'm doing is healthy for my skin. 80% of that is internal. So don't let the skincare industry say you can have a terrible diet and bad, stay up all night smoking and drinking and not get enough sleep and be totally stressed, and you're going to put these wonderful vitamin high dose whatever's on and you're going to look amazing. You are not.
Well, you look amazing. And anybody watching this on YouTube or seeing a clip is going to see that. 60 years old, I would not have guessed. But I also will say that you're holding your age with natural grace and beauty. And so much of the industry today eschews that. And it's sad for me to see. It's like people are getting, the stitching into to pull your skin back. It's not a true facelift, I guess, but these other, they're calling them more minimally invasive, but they're still invasive procedures. And they're essentially, who got an upper and lower bleph? I mean, the fact that I even know these terms now is because it's just ripe all over social media, because women are seeking out these procedures. Now, do I love that my right eyebrow is kind of like drifting a little bit down more, sagging a bit, and it makes my right eye appear a little bit more closed, No, I don't love that, but I'm not going to go under the scalpel to fix it either. So I think these are just some of the things that happen as we age. And, we can do things to help slow them down. We can do red light therapy or, some massage gua sha and things like this to help with lymphatic drainage, all of which are within your hands and your control without going under the knife. And I think the less invasive, we should start to normalize more. We should start to normalize graceful aging and embracing your age. Like, I proudly say I'm 49. I don't mind saying that, No. And I think more people should feel that way as opposed to, I'm in my 16th annual 29th birthday or something like that.
Yeah, we should be proud. I think it's a wonderful conversation to have, Corinna, and, having a daughter, and step grandchildren now, I'd rather them look at my face and feel comfortable and relaxed looking at my aging, wrinkly face rather than thinking, do you know what I mean? I'm not competing with a young person. Wisdom comes with age. And so if we can have those conversations, it's not to say that we shouldn't strive to be healthy. The other thing that I really do recommend for aging and skin health is sweating. So saunas, our skin is the biggest detoxification. I really love hot yoga and hot Pilates. So I'm sweating most days from that. It's like just cleansing out all the time. So that's another tip.
Yeah. I go to the gym and hit the sauna for 10 or 15 minutes after, and, just helps finish the sweat that I had on. Right. And I feel like that's very cleansing too. It's a good habit and it's relaxing. It helps your muscles loosen after you've been in an exercise. And then you can do some stretching, some gentle stretching afterwards, and your muscles will be prepped to repair from your exercise. Now, I wanted to talk to you about, you've obviously built a mission-driven beauty brand. What have been your biggest joys along the way, and perhaps the challenges you faced as you were working to build a company that tries to do things the right way?
I think the biggest joy have been the people that we've worked with. For a start, it became a family business pretty much after the first year. My brother and sister-in-law came back down from England to work with me on it. So there was a sense of camaraderie. Then, our supply chain, our farming friends have become like family in India. And, the people we work with, our joint venture partners in the States now, incredible people, everybody on the same mission. I think that's the greatest joy, actually, is the people working together for a collective cause. And the challenges come all the time. Anyone who's got businesses here know that it's not always plain sailing. I've always had a strong faith that this brand is meant to be. So I've never really been worried, even though sometimes we've gone through times when it's been financially challenging, or well, there's things we want to do that you just don't have the money to do. They're going to be very expensive to do, so you have to take the risk and say it's worth it for me. But having the faith, having the vision, feeling supported, it's been a really joyful exercise, actually. I've loved this business and I'm very grateful to be part of a wider team that are all contributing to it. I feel very supported. It's not just me, it's a collective at these days, the Organic Skin Co.
That's amazing. Now, for listeners who may feel overwhelmed when approaching an entire line of personal care products, in my case, I was very lazy about skincare until about 3 years ago. I didn't use a lot of products. I just washed my face in the shower or with a washcloth at night, often with water, maybe a little oil to remove makeup, and that was just it, right? Now I'm taking more care and I'm finding that my skin texture, hydration, all these things are so much better. My skin looks better than it did 3 years ago, and I'm 3 years older, right? So for those individuals who feel overwhelmed, either because they're using a set of products and they maybe aren't happy with the results, or because they just are starting out kind of novice like I was 3 years ago, what are the top 3 changes that you think they can make today to reduce toxic exposure in their personal care routine and to support their skin?
Okay, so first of all, get off the nasty chemicals. Look for natural products, because we're talking long-term well-being and health, and we know that most of these chemicals aren't well tested for safety. Okay, so trust that nature can do what it's got to do. Start changing your attitude. Start thinking of it like a healthy diet.
So what sorts of ingredients would they be looking for if it was something that was toxic or not natural?
Oh, there's just so many. When you become a label reader, I mean, you've got everything from your sort of pegs to your, the list is really extensive, and it is hard to label read, because even with botanicals, they have Latin names. And if you don't know the Latin name, you might think that looks weird. So there are websites where you can scan labels. But I would research a brand, go online. There are definitely amazing retailers out there that also do the work for you. I mean, we're in natural grocers. They're very stringent, Sprouts. They do the work for you, and you can pretty much trust certain chains, and local health food stores have done that work. Okay, so that's helpful. Ask the sales girl in the counter as well. Do your research. Once you know, then start experimenting and seeing what works for you. We do very high quality ingredients because of the CO2s and the fact that they're organic. So look for formulations that have a lot of botanicals in them. And you can tell that because they will have their Latin name in brackets after the thing. So, you might have turmeric and Then you might have calendula, and then you might have rosemary, and you might have sea buckthorn, and you might have jojoba seed oil, and you might have, et cetera, et cetera. So you'll see a proper label will have it in a normal kind of format, and then it will have the Latin name. Look for a label, an ingredient list that has practically all natural ingredients, if not all. That will be also something that, and you want lots of variety, because skincare is like a beautiful formulation of synergies. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, there's just nothing like your tune into yourself. What does your skin say? What does your emotions say when you use it? Muscle test, do whatever it takes for you to know that this product harmonizes with you. Because at the end of the day, you know best, but you've got to take the time to pause and to be. And I always say beauty should be slow, because it's a beautiful ritual for us. It's maybe one of the only times of the day we get to spend nurturing ourselves. I love, for example, to have a product that smells amazing. And I'll use this, for example, because it's got pure rose in it. And rose has got the highest frequency of all the essential oils out there. And it helps lift the mood and helps lift the heart chakra. So also think as beauty rituals are something that's going to feed you emotionally and spiritually as well. There's so many different angles, but it's just about re-educating your body, re-educating your senses, tune in. What is this feeling like for me? And then also you should start to see results after a month or two. I'm always suggesting anti-inflammatory approach, high antioxidants, and regenerating it slowly. Yeah, because there's no quick fixes, but you will start to see results of the good quality skincare quite quickly.
So if you're looking specifically at the Organic Skin Co. products, is there a particular product you would ask people to try or swap out first if they're on a tight budget?
Oh, it's goodness me. Well, we have the good oil, which is hugely popular. I mean, that's a very, very big seller for us. It's a beautiful face oil, which is, it's very regenerative if your skin especially is dry, but it also has the aromatic of the honeysuckle. But it really depends what you're looking for. Like the dream cream for us, older ladies, it's absolutely beautiful. Older ladies, people, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Skin that's sort of needing a little kick. Like I think, Corinna, you mentioned you use this as an eye cream. This is incredibly thick, this cream.
I use it all over my face, but I put it on right after the toner, and I just love the way it feels.
It is. It's absolutely amazing, and it's got New Zealand seaweed in it, which, if you think about how when you've got dried seaweed and you put water in it, how it puffs up, that's kind of also what's helping it do for your skin, plus natural vitamin C's like amla. We have a beautiful serum called vitamin C as well. I love the hydration agent moisturizer, and this is a really amazing cleanser because it will last you for so long. So it's really good value for money. And it's a cleansing gel, so it's good for all skin types. It's purifying, and it's going to create balance in your skin. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. We're just looking for it to be balanced, to be harmonized, not sensitized. Think of your outer skin a little bit like your digestive tract.
So I think I'm going to give, because I'm coming from outside and I've just been using the products as a user for this last year. And I've been so impressed. I'm going to give what I would say is an answer to this question.
Yes, please.
I think the first thing I would do is start with the Dream Cream for one reason. I think that if you develop a habit at night where you cleanse your face with whatever cleanser you're using, but then you put something like this on your skin and you sleep with it overnight, and then you see how your skin feels in the morning, that you're going to see a difference that helps to convince you that everything we've been saying throughout this time is actually true, right? So, okay, well, it doesn't have any of this crap in it, frankly. So I can go ahead and put this on my skin. It feels better in the morning. And that's not to say because it's called Dream Cream, you can't use it during the day too. It's just more hydrating. It doesn't make my skin oily. And then I would say for people who really like that glow, when you really like that glow look, glowy, dewy look, that's where I think the good oil comes in. I personally, maybe it's because I'm a Gen Xer, whenever my skin looks like that dewy glow, I feel like it just looks oily and I want to mat it down. So it's probably a culture-based thing for my generation. So that one I don't use so much, but the products I use every day are Set the Tone as my toner, put that on, morning and night whenever I'm washing my face, right after I finish washing. I will use the Clean Slate to wash, but Set the Tone, followed by either the hydration agent, which is what I use during the day, or the Dream Cream at night. I use the Task Force 9, which is that one that has a calendula for calming allopathically, almost like, oh, I've got a little dryness here, I got a little patch of almost like eczema. I'm having some hormonal reaction, and I'll use it on that to help heal it. And that really is it for me on the daily.
Yeah.
Other than that, I just use a powder and a little mascara and an eyeliner and some lipstick, and that's it. That's 100%. So I'm not breaking the bank, and these products do last because you've built them that way. And I will say, I don't think most people, if they already have a personal care regime, if they're already using product on their face every day to nurture their skin, I don't think these products are outpriced. They're not like $60 even though I think, frankly, they could be. So
thank you.
They're beautiful, and I would recommend anybody pick up any of them. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And there are just about, I don't think there's maybe 5 brands in the world I can say that about. So you've obviously earned a fan, and I really do think you've earned the fan in me. So thank you.
Thank you, Corinna. That's really, really, it's a lovely endorsement coming from you, because I know how much integrity you have around your choices. So I really appreciate that.
I put a lot into it, but I think you've done something incredible here, and you deserve the accolades. So I would love, as we close, for you to just share what the long-term vision of the Organic Skin Co. is. What excites you most about the future of conscious beauty?
Well, the Organic Skin Co. is going to do a couple of very exciting new launches early next year. So watch this space, and it won't be what you're thinking potentially, but it's got very much to do with what we've discussed throughout this podcast. I'm not able to say any more at the moment, but we are evolving. We've always been a well-being brand, and we're very, very excited about the future, about what that means. And so hopefully we just keep growing, and we're a slow grow. We've never done by your audience, or we're about community. I would like more conversations to be had, because I think if we come together and start having these conversations, maybe we can help balance the sort of overly material aesthetic side of the beauty industry and take it back to something that's more genuine and healthy for us and the planet. And I think that really is part of what I would like to see the future of the beauty industry is. I'd like to see this groundswell movement of people questioning what is beauty, what is aging, what is healthy skin, and having a really, and then we can all relax a little bit. To me, I find it extremely stressful for young people that they have to look out there in these social media environments and marketing environments and constantly feeling not good enough. And so there's so many things that need to be done, and conversations is where it starts. And then you having a conversation with your children or your friends, and let's just re-scape the beauty industry.
I love that. Perfect. Thank you so much, Megan, for joining me today. And your commitment to clean, conscious, regenerative beauty is really something to be commended. You've really reminded me that what we put on our skin matters for our health, our personal confidence, like we're not breaking out as much anymore. Thank you. And the planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinna. Appreciate you.
Listeners, you've already heard my endorsement. You can learn more and explore Megan's work at theorganicskinco.com. We'll have full links, resources, and the episode transcript available at caremorebebetter.com. As we wrap, remember that this show is a resource. It's also a generator of more social good. So if you share this episode with people in your community that you think would enjoy it, you'll help us in more ways than one. In 2025, we planted more than 36,000 trees in collaboration with forestplanet.org. We did this with each new subscriber that came onto the platform, be it on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. And we're continuing to do that in 2026 as people join our email list at caremorebebetter.com. Now, as we enter 2026, our focus is shifting to support higher education programs that are presently under threat due to the policies of the administration of the United States. Our new cause partner is Prescott College. You'll find details on how to support this effort on our cause partner page. Just visit caremorebebetter.com/support. There's also a cause partner link on our homepage. Thank you, listeners and watchers, now and always, for being a part of this pod and this community, because together we really can do so much more. We can care more, we can be better, we can even choose products that support our well-being and that are safer for our planet, creating a healthier, more regenerative future for all of us and for the next generation. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Care More, Be Better, a podcast for social good. To make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share with your friends to help us reach more people and spread more social good.